welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into something that people know and love you for. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand coach for creatives, and I'm on a mission to make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. If you're ready to get more eyes on your work, more dollars in your pocket, and more creativity in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Let's brand your passion. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion. Today is exciting because we are switching things up a little bit. Normally, I am the interviewer interviewing some incredible creatives, but because there are some updates happening here at Maker Moxie, we will be by now. I thought it could be fun for somebody to interview me and talk about how I have branded my passion and built this whole wild biz. So I have brought in the incredible Amie today, who is, I'll let her introduce herself, but she also happens to be my biz BFF. So I thought it would be a good match for somebody to interview me and get all the good goss out of me. So Amie's here. Take it away, Amie. Introduce yourself, and then you can take over.
Woohoo! Hello, everyone, and hello, Holly. I am really excited because I'm finally using my journalism degree, which I think a lot of us creatives and business owners know all too well how we have degrees potentially that we've never used. So let's get into today. I feel like I am in the host seat. A bit about me, I'm an online business strategist, and I am also the CEO of Ultraviolet Marketing, which is a marketing automation agency. And I have been working online for 5 years now, so I feel like a bit of an oldie in the industry. And my real vision is to have fulfilled entrepreneurs that feel really good in their business. So the way that I do that is through creating resources, courses, and experiences that help entrepreneurs work less and focus more by structuring their offers, automations, and biz operations. And yeah, as I mentioned, I've been doing it for about 5 years now. I've worked with hundreds of digital entrepreneurs all over the world. And in terms of my whole marketing background, that has been a long journey, almost 8 years. I think it's over 8 years now. And I've done absolutely everything you can think of. But I have landed in a place where I feel really good about what I do. And you know, a lot of that is because of you, Holly, because how you've helped me shape my brand and really understand what I'm good at and how I can impact the world and what I value and how I can best communicate that to an audience. Yes. So without further ado,
And you're like heckin' creative also, like making content creation, like podcasts, writing, YouTube videos, like websites. Obviously, you don't do that for other people anymore, but your own and things like that. Amie is also an incredible creative as well.
So let's talk more about you, because that's what this whole episode is about. I feel like for anyone that has listened to the podcast before, they're probably more listening, especially your episodes that you have with all the wonderful creatives that are on Brand Your Passion. You're more telling their story than people get to hear about your story. So we're switching gears and we're getting to hear more about you, which is super exciting. Yeah. So for those people who have mainly listened to other people and heard you facilitate these interviews, could you tell us just a little bit more about what you do and maybe some things that people who listen to the podcast already don't know about you?
Sure. So my title now is brand strategist and coach for creatives. But before that, and even now, I feel like I describe myself as like a multi-hyphenated creative, because I'm also a hand lettering artist. Really want to write a book one day. Before doing brand strategy, I was a designer, and that's what I studied, was graphic design, visual communication design, and so many other like ways that I identify as a creative. Things you might not know is that, my business started as a hand lettering and typography studio. So that's where I started like freelancing, was doing hand lettering, art and design, and selling my prints as a hand lettering artist and stuff like that. And what else do you need to know about me? I was originally born in England. Not a lot of people know that, but I moved to New Zealand when I was 10.
Brit.
Yeah. Not something I'm always the most proud of. And as an introverted youth, I hated being different, and I hated my accent being different.
Did you have like a proper British accent?
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I still do. I actively don't use it. Like,
really? You sound so Kiwi though.
Yeah, but if I talk to my parents, I will sound like broad Yorkshire lass.
Can we get a bit of Yorkshire for the podcast?
I've never done it publicly. But I just talk, but I hated it. I just hated being like singled out as different. And so I changed my accent and copied the New Zealand accent. And now here I am.
It's funny that you're a creative now, because so much of what you do, not a creative now, you've obviously always been creative, but it's interesting that now you actually have a personal brand and you show up online. But as a teenager, you didn't want to be in the limelight, and you're an introvert as well, which I know that's where we're very different, but we also do the same types of things. Is that something that you had to kind of transition into feeling more comfortable with, knowing that you would have to actually promote yourself as a brand?
Yeah, for sure. When I first started, I guess building my personal brand or my business brand, I was very like shy, very socially anxious. Like I had a really social anxiety problem, and I really didn't know how to like be myself or talk online, or I hated public speaking, all of that stuff. And so I had to figure out like, how do I do all of that, but in a way that like still feels good to me and still like honors the fact that I am an introvert, and that I'm an introvert, but I'm a people person. So I love working with people, especially in like one-on-one environments or small groups, and like connecting really deeply. So I had to figure out like, how do I do all this people facing stuff and put myself out there confidently, but then also like look after my energy and make sure that I'm taking time for myself and having that like one-on-one time, and looking after my introverted little self. And I did post on Instagram semi recently about how I wish I never changed my accent, because now I'm like, I wish I was like different, you know? But too late now.
Too late now. Everyone knows you as Kiwi Holly. Imagine if you
just revert back. Just like, hey up, can I have a cup of tea?
There we go. We got the Yorkshire. And you got me onto drinking. I mean, I've already had a love of Yorkshire tea, but now I drink it every day because of you. Spending so much time.
It's the one and only. If you drink anything other than Yorkshire tea, you're missing out.
You can't sit with us. So on that kind of topic of introversion in online business, is you talked a little bit about how you overcome it, but for someone who is kind of scared to really put themselves out there, but they know it is something that could grow their business and eventually make them sell more of their art or book more clients or have deeper connections with people in their online community. Do you have any kind of tips for those types of people who are currently on the fence about whether they should go into that more personal brand or putting themselves out there even?
Yeah, for sure. I think there are like two things. One is knowing, and this is like not an instant lesson you're going to learn, or, you know, a mindset shift you're going to have overnight, but just knowing that everything that makes you is an asset. And not an asset, that sounds like I'm trying to sell you, but like it's a great thing that makes you. It's the things that people are going to love about you and that sets you apart, and that there are people out there for everybody. Like whoever you are, whatever you're into, the kind of person that you are, there is an audience out there who's going to love you and love your work. If you Google or like look on Reddit or whatever, you can search anything and there's an audience or a group or a community for that topic. So whether you're like an introverted hand lettering artist who loves like metal music like me, there's an audience for you. Whereas if you're like an extroverted person who like loves clowns and talking really loudly, like, I don't know, I'm making it up, but there's an audience for you too. And secondly is that you can show up or be visible or put yourself out there in whatever way works for you. It doesn't have to just be like talking on stories or public speaking or whatever. If that's not what's comfortable for you, it could be like just sharing more of your work, or organizing like a small group that meets in person, or like whatever. There are so many different ways that you can grow your brand and get yourself out there that don't have to just be what you think you should be doing or what other people are doing. There's a way that you can do it that works for you and your personality and your preferred way of living.
Yeah. And I feel like in the online space, there's so much comparison, and it can feel like you're not keeping up, or so many people are telling you you're not doing the right things, or that you shouldn't be doing one thing, or you're not investing enough money, or you're not doing this or that. You wrote a really interesting post the other day, which I think spoke to a lot of people. And that was about the fact that there's, especially in these communities where it's mostly business owners and service providers, people have a tendency to kind of shame others for not spending a lot of their time and money and resources in essentially programs and deeper masterminds and things like that are more expensive in terms of the cost, but also the time commitment. And I need to get to my point, but that post was really good in what you were talking about, because I think there's a tendency for us to not feel like we're validated if we're not doing these things, and we are choosing the route of DIY instead. Is that something you can share a little bit more around, and how it doesn't need to be that way?
Yeah, for sure. I think like my just general philosophy in terms of like branding, I have a few philosophies or approaches or whatever. I guess that can be like different to, I guess, what other people think. But one of them is that I think that if you want to build or grow your brand, however you want to do that, whether that's DIY, whether that's like in a mastermind, whether that's hiring somebody to do it for you, like whatever it is, the fact that you're trying to work on your brand at all is amazing and should be like celebrated. And I just want to help you wherever you're at in that journey. And, you know, for me, as like, I've been in the position of somebody starting out as a freelancer, trying to sell my work, trying to book clients, didn't have any money. We can talk a little bit about my story, I guess. But like when I started freelancing, I was actually in a lot of debt because of the job that I had before, which had stopped paying me and all this jazz anyway. So like, I know what it's like to be in a position when you don't actually have the money to hire somebody to spend like $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever to do it all for you. You're just like, I know I need to work. Well. Yeah. And the time, like you're like, I have 20 clients right now because I'm doing small jobs or like whatever, and I'm just trying to get by. So I don't have like a month or 6 months or whatever to be working on my brand. I just need to like figure out what the frick my vision is. Or I just need to like choose some colors that feel really good and that can help me start to get some consistency in what I'm doing, and like those little moments or little things that you can do that just make a difference in moving your brand forward, I think are completely valid and amazing, and just as good for you where you're at as like hiring somebody to do it for you. Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to say in my post. It's like, whatever you're trying to do to work on your brand, it's freaking amazing. Proud of you. Love it. I'm here to help you.
And kind of on that note, for anyone that is kind of stuck on their brand and needs a bit more of confidence to move forward, what's one thing that you think they should focus on now that potentially doesn't cost a lot of money or takes a lot of time, but can help them get that extra bit of clarity that they need?
Yeah, I think one of the best things that you can do is to like figure out what makes you different And what is your like zone of genius or unique selling proposition? When you know, like you said at the beginning, right? Figuring out what you're really freaking good at is really powerful when you're like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I'm really good at. This is why you should buy my work. This is why you should support me. And this is why I want to grow my community or whatever it is that you want to do. And you can like when you do that and you figure out like, what about my personality or what about my work or what about what I do is different and awesome and special, then you'll feel like more confident in yourself and then more confident to like share that with other people. So, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do, but I think that would be the most like easy-ish, fun and powerful.
And just getting started. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note, again, what makes you different, Holly? What makes you different in your business?
I think the fact that I'm a creative myself is one of the things that I'm like the most proud of. That like the reason I'm doing this and trying to help creatives build their brands and grow their brands is because, like I said, I've been there. I know what it's like trying to sell your work, trying to book clients, trying to like grow your reputation, trying to get speaking gigs or spots at markets or whatever. I've been there. So I'm like, what makes me different is that everything that I do and my approach to everything is from that lens. So when I'm talking about like brand strategy or talking about designing your brand or whatever, I'm always thinking about it from the perspective of a creative for creatives. So, you know, there are a lot of brand strategists out there and everybody has a different audience. So some brand strategists or some brand designers will be very focused on like building a corporate business or like building a startup or whatever. And a lot of that information is not going to be relevant for a creative, right? Like there's heaps of stuff about competitor analysis and position in the market and market share percentages and all of that stuff that I'm like, if you Google branding, you might find that stuff and get overwhelmed and confused. And so for me, I'm like, I want to focus on the parts of branding that's actually really going to help creatives. So I'm like, we don't need to look at your competitors because a lot of creatives just want everybody to be creative and succeed. And it doesn't matter who like else is being an illustrator or a musician or whatever. And you don't have like market share in the same way that like Coca-Cola has market share or whatever. So, and I guess like my personality, I think, is a little bit different sometimes. Like branding can be a little bit stuffy and corporate and kind of serious, like I said. And while I definitely take it seriously, like the results and the strategy and the actions that I help people take, like I'm very serious about doing a good job, but I'm like, I have a fucking fun time, you know? Like you can hear me now, I'm like giggling all the time. I'm like telling stupid dad jokes. You can't see me right now, but I'm wearing like cow print star earrings. Like I'm having a good time doing it and I'm making the experience for my clients a really like fun, good, creative time as well. It doesn't have to be like stuffy and boring.
So what is one of the most fun things about your business or running a business or working with clients?
I really love doing like the strategy workshops that I do because they are like, and they've just gotten better and more fun since we did yours because that was like, what, like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, a year and a half
maybe. So yeah, like I just have a fun time working with creatives and seeing them like figure out all those things, like what's awesome about them, the things that they love. It can be hard sometimes for the client, but I have heaps of fun when they're like, oh shit, I like am not doing what I love, or I could be doing what I love, or you know, it's like a hard realization, but I'm like, this realization is worth it and it's going to be freaking great. Yeah. So I just have a great time running those workshops and helping people like figure out their brand and what they want and how they can do it in a way that works for them and like see the potential of where their brand can go.
Yeah, for sure. And if we kind of go back a bit to when we first met,
yes.
I feel like you and how you speak about your business now and working with clients is just completely different. Like you're in a different phase of business when I first met you. and you were in a different phase of life, I feel, as well, to where you are now. You were a designer essentially, and you're just trying to transition into that title of a brand strategist. And now I feel like you're known as a brand strategist, and you have people that understands that you have transitioned from being a designer. So how did you make that transition, and do you have any tips for anyone who is thinking about making a transition in their business?
I would say that number one is like claiming the new you. So like it took me a long time, and even still sometimes when like people I don't know ask me what I do, I'm like, oh, I'm a brand designer. Like, cause I'm just like, it's easier. And like, I just, it takes time to confidently be able to tell everybody who you are and what you do. But I started trying as much as I could to, like, when people ask me what I did, or like in my Instagram bio or in my email signature or whatever, say like, I'm the CEO of my business and I am a brand strategist and coach. No longer did I describe myself as like a freelance designer or a design studio or anything like that. I was like, I'm a brand strategist and coach. That's what I do. So that's number one. And I totally know that that's easier said than done. Cause like I said, I still sometimes mess up, or like in the moment you're like, oh shit. I'm like, why did I just tell them I'm a designer? That's not what I do anymore. What the heck? But yeah, so I know that it's easier said than done, but it's worth it. And gradually over time, you'll be able to be like, oh yeah, this is what I do. And
it's time, isn't it? Because you get doubt that kind of sets in, and you're like, oh, but maybe I should still take on this work. And it's really hard to kind of just make that cut and say, no, this is who I am, this is who I serve, and I'm just going to own that title. And I even feel, for me, when we talked about this in my brand strategy, it's completely different to what it is now. And I feel like it's completely okay to change your title 20 times if you need to get to that place where you do feel really confident to be able to say it to random people that ask you about your business, even though they don't understand what you do.
Yeah, totally.
And one of the things I'm most excited about asking you is because behind the scenes, I have known what this was for a very long time.
Yes.
But tell us about the shift to Maker and Moxie, how you came up with the name, what the name means to you, what it will mean to your audience, and any changes that are going to happen in your business because of this name change.
As I said, when I started my business, started it very quickly because I had to get the frick out of my job because it was very bad. I'll just leave it at that. And if you want to know more about the whole story, I can tell you. But yeah, I had to leave very quickly. So I had to very quickly come up with a name. And what I was doing at the time, as I said, was hand lettering and typography. And I was doing primarily, my personal work was all in black and white. It was all like very minimal.
This is how black and white studios came about.
This is how black and white studios came about, which is what I've been using for the past like 3.5 years, right?
Yep.
4 years, or however long I've been in business. I don't remember. I feel like 2020 has confused me, and I'm like, what?
Let's forget that year.
Who knows? Yeah. So yeah, I have been using that for the past 3 years, but like we've talked about, my business has changed so much since then. So I'm no longer doing hand lettering or typography like as a service in my business. I do that in my own personal time as an artiste. But so like it doesn't make sense anymore in terms of what I do. It doesn't feel on par or like aligned or on brand with like the visual direction that my brand is in, because if you look at my brand visual identity, it is definitely not black and white. It's like very orange and pink, and a little bit of blue thrown in there. So yeah, it doesn't work that way, and it doesn't like say anything anymore. Like it kind of did at the time sometimes, but it doesn't anymore. Also, I always get tagged in things or get confused in like search results and stuff like that for like black and white photography or anything black and white. I sometimes get like tagged or hashtagged or like whatever and all these things. All of those things lead me to be like, I got to change this name.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep the visual identity because I'm so proud of the visual identity that I have. I love my logo. I have like amazing animations made by my friend Devin. So like I wanted to keep as much of that as I can. And the core like icon of my logo is the ampersand. So my restriction in finding a new name was that I hopefully wanted to keep the ampersand in the middle of the name so that I could keep the logo, keep all the branding, keep everything else. So that was the like technical parameters for changing the name, but I also wanted it to like feel good to me, say something to my audience, and feel like the kind of energy that my business has. And so I was like brainstorming a whole bunch of names, a bunch of stuff about like creatives, creators, makers, a bunch of those kind of words about like who all of you listening are that would resonate with that. And a bunch of other words about like the energy or the results or the transformation that I want to help people have. And I had like a bunch of different names. And then I went through the process of like seeing if those names already existed, or I had another one that still had studios in there. I can't remember what it was. It was something similar, but it had been taken. And then eventually I found Maker and Moxie, and I was like, this feels cool. Like, obviously, all of you are like makers in some way, making your art, making your creativity, making music, making writing, like whatever you're making. So that was like, yeah, I feel good about that. And then Moxie, if you don't know what it means, is like this kind of old-timey, but like badass feeling word that means like courage and confidence and like gumption. And it's often used to describe like, yeah, badass like women or creatives or entrepreneurs or like innovators. And yeah, I love that it has like an X in there because I just feel like kind of anything that has like an X or a Z in there feels kind of like exciting and snazzy and badass feeling. So I was like, yeah, this feels like great. So yeah, now we're recording this like a month before this big change happens. So like I'm in the process right now of changing everything, redoing the logo, going through all the like software that I use and changing all the names and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's where we're at with the name. That's how it happened. And I hope you all love it.
This is like the biggest secret I've ever kept. I just want to tell people or start. But I know, I think you are doing something very brave and doing it in a way where you're actually setting everything up so that it will be really successful. And you'll have that brand be really known for what you do and who you help. So I think it's an amazing name. You did a great job.
Thank you. You would hope as like a branding person that I kind of know how to do this kind of thing. But yeah, I was going to say like, I'm trying to set things up as well with this name for the future because Black and White Studios is like, where is that going to take me? I don't know how it's going to work going forward.
This is going to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a bunch of ideas. If you know me, you know, I'm like, I just can't stop thinking of like new ideas and new things to do. But essentially, I want Maker and Moxie to be like the go-to place for creatives who want to build and grow their brand. It's right now as well as like, it's not just me running this thing anymore. Like I am the person doing the strategy and doing the implementation and all of that stuff at the moment. But I also have like an assistant and a designer who helps me and a podcast editor and like all of these people, this team of people who make this whole business happen. And so like I want to, and that's going to grow because in the future, I'm thinking about bringing brand design back into Maker and Moxie potentially and having like an agency style model. So I'll do the strategy and then we'll work together to do your brand identity and stuff like that. And a bunch more like resources and all of this stuff and events and meetups and communities and like so much great stuff. And so, I wanted a brand name that could encapsulate all of that and is going to work whatever I'm doing in the future. So don't hold me to any of those ideas, by the way, because I could change my mind. But like, that's the plan. And that's why I wanted the name to kind of fit all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's real CEO vibes. Like you're stepping into that role and you're ready to kind of take charge and serve the creatives in your community. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So I think that is a great question to end on, because Maker and Moxie is kind of the future of your business, and all of the people that listen to this podcast kind of fit into that community of creatives. So on an end note, because I know this is a very important part of talking on anyone's podcast, and the fact that this is your own podcast, I want to give you the opportunity to plug yourself and anything you're currently working on, or anything that you want to share with the creatives that are listening right now. Where can they find you?
Yeah. So you will, after this is out, will be able to find me at makerandmoxie.com or at Maker and Moxie everywhere. And so that's where you can find me. And if you want to work with me, like I said, I have a bunch of options because I'm here to help you wherever you're at. So I have a shop that's full of like resources to help you start working on your brand. So those are awesome. So you can check that out at shop.makerandmoxie.com. Next month, my group brand strategy program will be launching. So the waitlist will be open at this point in time. So you can go and get your booty on there. So that's like a cool way that you can get yourself started doing your brand strategy in a group. It's super fun. Or you can always book in for a one-on-one brand strategy with me to get the whole shebang.
Yes, recommend.
And yeah, it's a good time. So yeah, that's how you can work with me.
Woo!
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amie. I hope you have all enjoyed listening to me answer some questions. I would obviously love for you to like let me know how you feel about the name. And if you have any more questions about any of my story or anything that's going on with Maker and Moxie, you can always find me on the gram, flick me a DM.
Me too.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you to Amie for doing this with me. If you want to check out Amie, which you should, especially, you know, us creatives sometimes struggle with like structuring our business and getting into like the zone with like actual business stuff, then you want to talk to Amie. So Amie, where can people find you?
So definitely on the gram at Amie Finlayson. I think the show notes will have how you spell my name, because everyone gets my first name wrong. And then amiefinlayson.com. They're the two places that are the best to find me. Otherwise, if you're looking for the agency side of things, that's at Ultraviolet MKTG, short for marketing. You can also find me there.
Yes, Amie is AMIE, but we'll put it in the show notes also.
Correct.
Amie and I both live that IE life.
IE life.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thanks everybody for listening. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for Amie. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion and choosing to spend time with me learning all about branding, business, and all things creativity. You can find more episodes just like this one at makerandmoxie.com/podcast. If you like this one, you can tap that subscribe or follow button so that you're notified about each and every new episode. And if you've got a spare second, please leave a review on iTunes or wherever it is that you're listening to this podcast, because I would absolutely 100% love to hear from you. If there were some helpful goodies in this episode for you, it would mean the world to me as well if you could screenshot that podcast player right now, hop on over to Instagram or Twitter, and tag us at Maker and Moxie. By subscribing, reviewing, and sharing, you're helping reach more creators just like you, so that together we can make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. We can't achieve this mission without you, so your support means the absolute world. I will talk to you in the next episode, but until then, keep creating.